Welcome, my name's Trent. If you're new here, please like, please subscribe, please comment, do all that fun stuff. Because if you don't like, subscribe, and comment, then you're never gonna learn this profitable strategy I'm using that's not only profitable, but super logical and helps you understand what is going on in the market day in and day out. First thing I want to look at is the idea I shared on Google. And I am trying to find the level that I had shared for that idea. So I had shared possible higher low above 287.15 on Google. This was kind of quick banger trade I took right out the gate this morning. 287.15 is right here. I was on the 2-minute chart this morning. As you can see, it went above, pulled back two, gave these little doji-ish hammer, whatever candles. As soon as it broke them, I got long and I just wrote it above the highs a little bit up here somewhere. I got like a 1 in 1.75 risk reward, quick scalp in and out. Luckily, I'm lucky I got out because it came back down. It never went back down below low a day. So had I made the stop low a day, which I would have never done because that is way too far away, then I would have been okay. Regardless, great trade. I was never in drawdown, perfect trade on the day. Um, I also traded QQQ today, and we'll cover that when we get there. Let's just go ahead and start with QQQ. Let's take a look at the daily chart. Zoom in. All right. So obviously what we were looking for today before market opened, before we opened with a huge gap up, we were down here and we were looking to see if we were going to get above 612.50 and get some price acceptance above. Well, we never had to worry about that because the market opened with a nice fat gap up. And when the market opened, first thing I'm looking at is I'm looking at the market pulse score up here. I'm looking at the volume ratios, and I can tell you volume ratios were much higher when market opened. I can't remember exactly what they were, but even now, close of day, it was still 2.5 to 1 on S&P. But I think I remember seeing five. I think it was 5 times as much up volume. Just all the market internals were screaming bull this morning. So that's why I was fairly confident in that Google trade. And let's see if I can remember where I took trades on QQQ. Okay, we're going to need to look at more time. All right. I would need to see the overnight low to really know where I took trades. All right, the overnight high, that is. I'll just put it back on the chart for sake of review. I believe I took a long here because we have a higher low above the overnight high, above VWAP. We have a hammer candle. I took a long to the high a day, possibly a little bit higher. Um, when it pulled back below the opening print and we got a lower high right here, I was beginning to think that the gap was gonna start to close, but once again, I was looking at market internals and they were screaming bullish, and you could just see it down here. It was just stopping, stopping. We got a quick liquidation right here, and immediately that turned into a hammer candle. This candle right here mixed with market internals, giving us a hammer after this was a fast down moving candle and it came back up real fast. I knew right there that this was probably not going to close the gap. Had a feeling this candle was probably going to be the low of day. So as soon as we broke above this area, I took a couple longs today. I didn't like hold anything all day long. I just took a few longs. That was all the trades I took today was just the QQQ and the Google trade. I also shared a trade idea this morning before market opened about Microsoft. My phone just went down. Sorry. But I also shared an idea before market open about Microsoft, and I wish I would have taken that Microsoft trade idea that I shared because that thing was awesome, but I didn't take it. Let me get rid of this level here and let's look at what we can expect. How can we trade QQQ going forward? So I think the best way to get involved with this is obviously going to be on pullback longs. So pull back to here, something like this, or even something like this would be okay. Fill the gap. Sorry for my terrible drawing. Something like that would be okay. Um, I would be more skeptical about doing something like this, though it could work. Trades like that have not worked the best. That's like more of a breakout trade. Pullback longs have been working best for the last couple weeks. So those are really the trades you want to focus on. But these are kind of a few paths I could see for how QQQ could continue higher. Um, there is some overhead supply right here at 626 you got to watch out for. Another reason to be cautious of just a higher low over yesterday, high a day would not be my favorite path. I would want a pullback to 617.50, a pullback to 616, or even a pullback gap close reversal. Uh, let's go ahead and take a look at SPY and let me figure out how to erase all this stuff. Oh, where's the eraser? There, there we go. All right, on SPY, uh, let's see here. I need to stretch out the chart so we can see a little better here. Need more time. All right, so we were looking in this area here, basically above 672.71. That was the idea as of over the weekend. Could we get above this level with a higher low? Obviously, we opened gapped up. Same thing as we're seeing on QQQ. The best trades are going to be pullback longs as opposed to trying to just do longs over the high a day. So how might this look? Worst case scenario, it looks like this. That's the least preferred way. Also, we kind of got like a little level right there. Could come like that. Um, I know I'm a great artist. Absolutely wonderful. The more preferred method for this is going to be something like this, or gap fill reversal, something like that. Come down, lower high into the gap to fill the gap, then some type of double bottom or something at the bottom of the gap to if this gap fills, we get a double bottom at the bottom of the gap. I would feel comfortable getting in a long position and carrying it. carrying it for quite some time to the long side. Um, but pullback longs are the name of the game, not only in SPY, not only in QQQ, but in all of the major cap names right now. Because I can tell you that I've seen it over and over and over again for about 2 weeks where trades that go like this, then they fail. Okay. It's it's been very repetitive. So if you are gonna do much like I did with Google today, if you are gonna do breakout trade, the best way to do it is let it go way up and then come in for a major pullback, then go long. Okay. So what we're trying to avoid is it breaks above, then a minor pullback. That is a way that I do trade at times, but in this current market condition, it's not had a great success rate, so avoid it. Absolutely avoid it. Let's move on to the next one. Here we are in NVDA daily chart. Got a gap to mark out on the charts. I'm going to set an alert on that gap in case so that I know when we get near it. I can possibly trade that to the short side to fill it. We'll switch over to the hourly. So how to get involved on NVIDIA is going to be, it could look like this. Noting this kind of minor level right here. I would also be open-minded to this. This is an inverted head and shoulders at the top of the gap. I would also be open to this. I would also be open. That is just terrible drawing. I'm going to have to erase these. All right. I would also be open to just a gap fill reversal, something like that. So that is what we're looking for in NVIDIA. Something else I want to make note of on NVIDIA is, let's pull the chart up a little bit. We do have this overhead supply over here to the left that it remains to be a threat on NVIDIA. So when we get back up to this 202 level, beware that this is a good spot for shorts to come in. Okay. So it could be a repeat of these 2 days that gave shorts off of 202. So we got to watch out for that. Matter of fact, I could see it doing something like this, coming up, hitting, coming back down, gap fill, or at least partial gap fill, and going like that. That would be a reasonable path for NVIDIA. Let's go ahead and move on to Microsoft. The idea on Microsoft this morning was if it got up to 506.50 to short it. I don't know why the options chain just opened up on me. How do I get rid of this? All right. So let's look at a smaller time frame. And I posted that idea in text on YouTube this morning, on Facebook, on X, all of them, and literally went to it, and immediately the moment it touched it, went red, started going down. So that was definitely a great short. It almost hit the next line down, 499.75. I'm very, very close. Bounced off that. So the next idea for Microsoft, if and when it gets there, is going to be this path. If I can get the pencil up, something like this. Look for a rejection at 515.50, okay? Something like that. Shorts off of 515.50. Moving on. Let's take a look at Apple. If I can get pause the video for a second because somebody just wants to keep blowing up my phone. So remember when I'm saying that breakout trades are not working at the highs? Well, look at Apple. We're waiting for Apple to break above 273. Failed here, failed here, failed here. I mean, it's not working. Uh, so it'll come back sooner or later, but it's being difficult right now. So how can we deal with Apple? Mm, I think the best way to deal with this, and we could end up missing out because of it, but if we miss out, oh well, better than losing money. Looking for something like this. Let it come way up. We got clear price acceptance above. We might even be waiting for the day after it does this, then waiting for the pullback, then going long. Probably a process of a couple days. Day one comes way up here, day two pulls back, and then long. Uh, let's take a look at let's take a look at Google since the Google and Apple charts have been so similar. And saying Google just made my phone go off.
Music and Apple Music chart.
All right. Google, just said it again. Oops. All right, let me take a look at the daily. So I think ultimately what we're looking for here, similar to Apple, could be a 2-day process just because we don't want to get caught in a failed breakout. But you could also just kind of scalp it like I did today, just in and out. But something like this is what we're looking for. We still have this level up here to get to almost 300, 298.89, an overnight all-time high level. So essentially that's what we're looking for. Break above this regular all-time high, pull back above the all-time high to target the overnight all-time high. All right, let's take a look at Tesla. Tesla's daily chart, just not a big fan. Because look at how messy that is. Just insane. Chaos. It just looks like it's like Elon Musk's brain right there. Pure chaos. Uh, okay. So what we're really looking for on Tesla this morning was for it to come up to this 439.90 level, reject, and give us a short. But that didn't work. Instead, we got a failure pattern on it. So it came up, the short failed, came up, gave us lower high above, and it was bullish. If we go back to the hourly chart, we can see that we have shoulder, head, shoulder, inverted head and shoulders. Neckline right here at 451.20. So the theory is due to that pattern that if we break above the neckline and get a higher low above, that we will go, I would probably target that right there, up there. Um, what I don't like about the trade is that crazy, messy price action, and that this has just been one big, gigantic slop range. So that's what I don't like about it. Nonetheless, there is an inverted head and shoulders pattern. If we get above with high or low, that would confirm it. So trade at your own risk. I probably will not be trading that. Palantir. Palantir just massive move today, which makes sense after a massive sell-off. It was up 8.8% today. We have a gap below us. We have a gap above us. How can we trade this thing? I think the ideal way to trade it would be if we can get a pullback to here, or if we can get a pullback to here, we would be looking for buyers to step up at one of these locations and take it back long. So pullback longs to between 187.25 and 189. Take that back long, targeting, I suppose, targeting 192.65, then the bottom of this upper gap, then the gap fill. Okay. Um, I'm less inclined to go for the gap fill in something like this than I would be if we got the pullback long. Though it could work with a higher low over the higher day. Pullback long would be the more A setup. I'm not going to call it A plus. I'll call it closer to an A setup, A minus setup, something like that. Let's take a look at IBM. IBM has this nice bull flag. So we're looking for breaks above 314, then pullbacks to the level where buyers step up to go long off of that bull flag. Let's take a look at Visa. This one I did not chart yet. But if you take a look here, Visa has this giant cliff right here, right around there. See if I can get it a little better. Yeah, right about there. So it's got this big giant cliff here. If it can break below this 330.9, give us a lower high, I'd be looking to target this 328.70. So I'm going to set an alert on that. Create alert withdrawing at crosses at, or okay, fine. Crosses below. Um, one more I want to look at that just has just been a massive mover. MU. Whew. God, I need to update this chart. Wow, that is crazy. There's a lot of lines. Anyways, had this gap up today. I would like to see, let me set this alert. The ideal trade here would be, why isn't my pencil working? gap fill reversal. Okay. I might be willing to short to close the gap. Not all the gap though. I would definitely probably target the 242.11. So it looks like a fairly solid support spot. So lower high below 248 for a quick scalp short to this level. Then I'm looking for a either total gap fill or partial gap fill reversal. My reversal patterns that I am trying to draw right now just look so bad um, that I'm about to just give up on trying to draw them. But any kind of double bottom inverted head and shoulders at this level or at this level to go back long, targeting back up towards all-time highs. And I see a level I need to mark. So after the reversal on the gap fill, be targeting back up 242.11, top of the gap, and 255.40. That is all I got for today. As we learned this morning and many other times, after doing this after hours analysis, things can change overnight when there's a gap. I'm not going to go over gap rules right now at this very second, but I will show you where you can go to find gap rules. You can go to dow-trading.com, click strategies, click gap rules. This gives you a general idea on how to trade gaps when they occur. Okay? And if you're not journaling your trades, you probably should be. Strategyforgejournal.com. Use code strategy, 6 months free. All right, I am out. Have a good one. See you in the next.
Always one pip away!
There I was, a struggling trader,
Climb, baby!
always on the edge of almost becoming profitable, but still making the same mistakes day in and day out. My mom always nagging at me.
Do something with your
Finally,
life.
I discovered technical analysis wasn't
I've
the
been
problem.
doing this for years.
Trading
I know it's
psychology
not gonna
books were
work.
not the
I need
problem.
better
I was the
self-discipline.
problem. I wasn't tracking my data and using it. This kept me in a losing loop. Then I discovered Strategy Forge, a journal that had custom tags, built-in artificial intelligence analysis, strategy playbooks, SMART goals, and all the analytics I would ever need. Finally, I could afford that diamond grill I always
From
wanted.
edge dweller to bling boss. StrategyForgeJournal.com.
Use code STRATEGY for your first 6 weeks free or 3 free months on an annual plan. Act now. This deal won't last forever. Go to StrategyForgeJournal.com. That's StrategyForgeJournal.com and use code STRATEGY.